Having the ability to communicate effectively is one of the most important skills to possess on the road to success. Fully 85% of your success in life will be determined by how you interact with other people. Communication is the master skill to powerful relationships. And here are the basic rules. Your ability to communicate with others will account for most of your success and will open every door for you. Even people who are in technical fields, such as computer programmers and engineers, spend as much as 75% of their time interacting with other people. All the successes in life come from good communication that cause people to like you and trust you and want to be involved with you. All the top executives who've been interviewed have said that their ability to communicate well with others is more responsible for their success than anything else. And wonderfully enough, how to communicate is a learned skill set. You can get better and better by learning what the best communicators do and practicing it until it becomes a regular part of your repertoire. Fortunately, since effective communication is a learned skill, sharpening your ability will only lead you to greater and greater heights of success. Do you know the one key to becoming a great conversationalist? The key is to pause before replying. A short pause of 3 to 5 seconds after a person stops talking is a very classy thing to do in a conversation. When you pause, you accomplish 3 goals simultaneously. First, you avoid running the risk of interrupting if the other person is just catching his or her breath before continuing. The second benefit is that you show the other person that you are giving careful consideration to his or her words by not jumping in with your own comments at the earliest opportunity. The third benefit of pausing in conversation is that you will actually hear the other person better. His or her words will soak into a deeper level of your mind, and you will understand what he or she is really saying with greater clarity. By pausing, you mark yourself as a brilliant conversationalist. Another way to become a great conversationalist is to question for clarification. Never assume that you understand what the other person is saying or trying to say. Instead, if you have any doubt at all, ask, "How do you mean?" Or, "How do you mean exactly?" And then just pause and wait. This is the most powerful question I've ever learned for guiding and controlling a conversation. It's almost impossible not to answer this question. When you ask, "How do you mean?" the other person cannot stop himself or herself from answering more extensively. You can then follow up with other open-ended questions and keep the conversation rolling along. The third way to become a great conversationalist is for you to paraphrase the speaker's words in your own words. So after you've nodded and smiled, you can then say, "Well, let me see if I got this right," or "Let me see if I understand you exactly. What you're saying is this," and then you repeat it back in your own words. By paraphrasing the speaker's words, you demonstrate in no uncertain terms that you are genuinely paying attention and making every effort to understand his or her thoughts or feelings. And the wonderful thing is, when you practice effective listening, other people will begin to find you fascinating. They will want to be around you. They will feel relaxed and happy in your presence because when you listen to other people, you make them feel important. The reason why listening is such a powerful tool in developing the art and skill of conversation is because listening builds trust. The more you listen to another person, the more he or she trusts you and believes in you. Listening also builds self-esteem. When you listen attentively to another person, his or her self-esteem will naturally increase. He or she will feel better about themselves. He or she will feel more valuable and more respected. So how do you communicate more effectively with others? My favorite word in communications is the word clarity. Almost all of our problems in life become because of lack of clarity. We say things, but they don't come out clearly. So in order to be clear, first of all, stop and then think and then proceed slowly. Another great word is to rephrase or repeat something. Let's say you say something and somebody goes, huh? Or it's clear that they didn't get the message. I speak different languages, French, German, Spanish, and I'm busy working on learning Russian and Chinese now. And one of the things I learned in languages is if you say something in your limited language and they don't seem to understand it, rephrase it and say it again. And if they don't understand it, rephrase it and say it again until people go, ha, now I understand. So effective communication starts with you being very clear in your own mind about what you want to say, and then being very clear when you say it, and then saying it slowly and patiently, and making sure that the other person hears the message that you sent. You know, you can imagine in communications that here is you, and you want to communicate with this person. And so you send a message, almost like a message by telephone or by a carrier pigeon. You send a message into the air in the form of words. These words are then received by the other person, who then interprets the words in their own mind based on their own thoughts, feelings, whether they're paying attention, and so on, and then reformulates or formulates a response and sends the response back. You then receive the response, translate that into meaning and significance, and then you send it back. Between these two responses, there's what are called noise. Noise can be physical noise, outside, around, mechanics, trucks, and so on, but it can also be internal noise. The person can be hungry or distracted. It can be emotional noise. The person can be unhappy or excited. The person can have other noise in that they are interpreting what you say in a different way. So if you think about this, communications requires sending the message and having it received and checking, and then sending the message back and having it received and then checking, and simply going slowly. So it's better to be sure at every stage of the transaction that people are sending and receiving with tremendous clarity.